let's do that. Okay, so I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about consistency. And actually, I'm not even going to be talking the whole time. I just have a couple thoughts that I have been thinking about. But I asked some people, you guys, first of all show up so well and so consistently. I could not ask every single person on our team to talk. It would take 5 years. But just a few people that I know have been here for a little bit and show up so consistently are going to share just a couple tips with you guys. And I'm really excited about it. So just a couple thoughts that I had first. Some of you guys are new here. Some of you guys have been here for a while. I want you to think about when you literally first joined, how excited you were, especially those of you who have been here for a little bit. Sorry, I'm gonna mute you real quick. Okay. Think about, I know for me, when I first joined, it was just so exciting. I had so much of like just personal momentum building me up. I was posting all the time, like every single day, all day long. And it was so fun. And I think that when you first start something or you're just like really pumped about something brand new, it's easy to show up consistently and post and talk to people, like talk to everyone you know. And everyone's excited for you know, everyone's like curious what you're up to. And so that kind of motivates you too to like keep posting and keep showing up because you're like, okay, I shared something and people asked me questions. Now I'm going to share again. And I feel like personally, I know for me, and I'm sure if I'm feeling this way, other people do too, as time goes on, it kind of gets to the point where you have to like create the momentum in your head. You know, as you're sharing about stuff, less people are asking questions, less people are responding to every single thing you post. And it just kind of is like one of those things where you have to consciously make the effort to show up anyways. So I just want to tell you guys not to be discouraged. I actually have, like I said, I'm not talking too much because I'm letting these other girls really take it away. But the thing that I remind myself all the time when I don't feel like showing up or I'm feeling discouraged for whatever reason or just unmotivated, the thing that I always keep in my head is this: Haley, what if the one day that you don't show up is the one day that your ideal customer, ambassador, just person that you're reaching out to really needs to hear what you have to say? Like, what if that's the one day that's going to change it for them? I know so many people, so many of you guys actually were like, when you guys first joined, were like, I watched you for this many months or this many days. And like, what if I would have just stopped halfway through and just didn't show up because I had a bad day or I wasn't feeling motivated one day? Another example is Brittany Hitch. We all know who Brittany Hitch is. And I don't know if you guys know this, but she watched Francesca Fields posting for 18 months. 18 months. What if on the 17th month, Fran would have stopped posting because she didn't have someone like Brittany on her team who was just enrolling 5 million people? If she would have stopped a month before Brittany signed up, none of us would be here. Brittany would not be the quickest black diamond in the company. Like, so many things. So just remember that you never know who's watching. People don't reach out all the time. People don't ask questions all the time, but people are watching. So I have a couple girls that are on here going to share. I'm so excited to hear from you guys. Audrey, you want to go ahead and take it away first?
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That is such a good point. My goodness, just chills. Okay, so I'm gonna make mine short and sweet because we got, like Haley said, a lot of others that are going to be sharing some juicy advice. But the first thing I thought of that just so helps me is an accountability partner. And that sounds like super like, I don't know, kind of rigid and like, ooh, like accountability partner, but like seriously, just like a friend who is one friend who is like kind of where you want to be, sort of like a few steps ahead of you, so to speak, who just really has a lot of good advice and is kind of like just someone who is like, okay, you've kind of been where I am and you've overcome it. And what can I do to like, you know, keep going and just kind of ask advice and whatever. So that's the first thing. And like someone also who's just like in your place as well, who's going through what you're going through, staying at the same rank, still trying to find their two, whatever it is. And just encourage each other and just be there and say like, hey, like we got this another day. what are you doing to get after it? What are you doing? Or like, hey, this person that I've like been talking to said like, this is really good. Here's some advice. So it's just good to like kind of have that community, have that tribe that you get together with. And yeah, we have access to that like everywhere. Like look around, you know, like we have so many people who are like right where we are. So, and that's the first thing that just kind of came to my head. Like, oh yeah, like that's what I do. I find an accountability partner or two. So I also think like don't rely on like fleeting motivations. So that's like kind of where I get really like off track is when I think of things that are just like so fleeting that like motivate me. I need to think about like super just prominent things in my life that are not going away. And I'm going to keep that in my head and use that to like pull me forward and be like, okay, this is why I'm showing up, you know? So we all have our own like motivations, our own whys, you know, we talk about that all the time. But what is the big picture, you know, rather than just like, hey, like it'd be really nice if I just had like some extra money to like get my nails done, you know, like something that's like so just like, oh, well, it's another week. I'm like, okay, I've lived with the nails that I've had. Like, I guess I could do without that. Like, no, you need something big that's going to just like push you forward. And it's not going away anytime soon. So that's another thing I really thought of. Just like have patience, like so much, like so many of the time or so much of the time, I just get so impatient. I'm just like, okay, I'm ready because I see like the Brittany Hitches. I see, you know, all these people that literally just took off so quickly. And while like everybody's story is different, like it's so easy to just get lost in the, okay, I know there's, you know, it takes patience. I know there's like systems and like patience is a virtue and everything, but can I just get there now? Like, can I just like have like that magic, you know, happen to me where like, oh, like, you know, I was like feeling down. And then the one day, you know, I was like going to give up, I went for it. And then boom, I like hit Black Diamond, you know, like I feel like we've all like been there. We're just like, okay, can I just be there? But no, we have to trust the process. It's really a beautiful journey and it's such a privilege to be here and to be able to have a story to tell someday. You know, we're all going to have a different story. And right now we all have different stories. We are not even just going to have a different story someday. We're literally making that story right now. So just like I have to like bring this up because it's so funny, like the whole like comparing yourself to like the Brittany Hitches or the Francesca Fields or whoever it is. My dad always has talked about this little thing that we get as just humans called comparatinitis. It's like a thing that he made up where it's like you compare yourself to just something else, like something else that like isn't you, like all the time. And it's like comparatinitis. It like just takes over and you're just like, okay, that person's there, I'm here, and what am I doing wrong? Like, oh man, it must be so easy for them. Like, it must be so perfect. And we can't get caught up in that, you guys. Like, we all are going through our own things, and you don't know like what that person's going through or what they've had to, you know, like we all have our different stories. And if we get so caught up in comparing ourselves, we're going to miss out on like, hey, what do I have that is like unique? What do I have to bring to the table? And that's such a thing I love about, you know, this, like Haley's here and she's just letting us all, you know, like just share our hearts. Like I feel like there's nothing super special about me, you know, like I'm no like Brittany Hitch or anything, but hey, like I have something unique to share. And apparently she saw something in me that I could, you know, just share with all of you. So I just love that about here, like Q Sciences, how everybody gets a seat at the table. And I think we need to really take advantage of that and just share that with people too. But use that as a motivation, you know, like everybody here has a voice. It's not just, you know, the top earners in this company. So use that and push yourself, you know, act like you know what you're talking about because you do, you know, everybody has something to share. So yeah, just never get discouraged by that. Stop comparing and just remember you have something to share. And people are listening, like Haley said, they are, even if you don't see them or, you know, you don't know who's watching or who might reach out like 18 months from now, but just stay strong and stay confident in what you have to bring to the table. Okay. Let me see. I took like a bunch of notes. Yeah. Plant seeds. Haley talked about that. I love the image of just like planting seeds in the ground. You're not always going to see the results right away, but months down the road, you're going to see that plant grow. And yeah, I just like to think about that, like if someone reaches out and then nothing comes of it right away, I'm just like, oh, well, that was a bust, like I guess that person's never going to want to, who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they just need to think about it and they'll come back. And that's actually happened before. And it's super cool. So yeah, plant seeds, wait for them to grow, and don't get discouraged when you don't see something growing right away. Okay, let's see here. Yeah. And then I just want to finish with just like the resources we have. I kind of touched on this, but like, I think with the previous company I was with, I definitely did not have access to the resources that we have here. And, resources is such like a bland term because really it's like, it's people, it's friendships that we have here and it's true mentors. And I think one thing that really like gets me back with like a fire under my butt, so to speak, is when I come to these things like you are right now, when I come to these team calls and I see real people, that are going through real things and we're all showing up and we're learning and we're sharing just unique things and things that I wouldn't have thought of or that I didn't think would motivate me or whatever. But or like going on listening to our president speak on Facebook Live. Like that is huge, you guys. Like I never would have thought a company would ever do that, where a president of the company who just doesn't need to be there sharing is just there and just sharing his heart. And it's just like the most motivating thing ever. I don't know about you, but I just like, sometimes I'm like sitting there and I get the little notification that, oh, Q Sciences, news live, whatever. I'm just like, okay, I could swipe out of it, or I could go and I could have what always happens to me happen and just be really motivated and really just touched by whatever it is that's said. So just take advantage of all those resources, you guys. We've got these team calls happening all the time, power hours, those Facebook lives, those things are super motivating. And sometimes you're like, oh no, I don't really want to, but just have it playing in the background, even just like have it playing, just, I don't know, while you're doing the dishes or whatever it is. That's what I do. I just try to find a way to work it into my day and it just works wonders. It truly does. So yeah, that's basically all I have. Just, I hope that, that was helpful. But those are just a few of the ways that I stay motivated and, especially to stay consistent because it's very discouraging sometimes. We're all there, but we get through it and we're here.
That was so awesome. Thanks, Audrey. Sarah, you ready? I muted you earlier. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay. Can you hear me? Okay, awesome. Well, I don't know. I feel like I might just kind of sound like a broken record because Audrey, like everything that you just said, I was like, absolutely. And Haley, what you said, I think the whole like Brittany Hitch watching for 18 months, like I put that in the perspective right now. I have a 9-month-old baby and I feel like I've had him forever and it's only been 9 months, but it's been 9 months. And I'm like, that would be 9 more months of this human living in my life before a Brittany Hitch even reached out to Fran. And so I'm just like, when I put it into perspective of like an actual human being's life, like that I care for, I show up for him every single day. And I know I'm not trying to compare Q Sciences to my child, but like in the same way that like you show up for your child in very tangible ways, like if you want this Q Sciences, if you want this side gig to be something for your children, because a lot of us have children that like they are our reason why and they are our motivation, like think about it in that way, that like the same way that you show up for them in all the other tangible ways throughout the day, show up for them in this, because this is something that we give to them in whatever that is. Like for me, it's that my kids can have the best like supplements, like that's the beginning of it all, that they can have the best supplements and that we can afford that. And then from there, it only like my why only gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So just showing up in the same way that you show up for them in other ways. Another thing is like we always here this talks about like, this is a business. And in the same way that you would show up to your brick and mortar store, you would flip that closed sign to open, and you would turn on the lights, and you would get the cash register ready, and like you would do all of the things that you need to do to have your brick and mortar business open. You need to do that for this as well. Like, you need to treat this like a business, and you need to show up for it, because otherwise, like, your sign is closed and no one's going to know that your store is open. So just remember that, like, even though this doesn't feel like a brick and mortar thing, like, treat it like it is a brick and mortar thing. Another thing that I always think about is that, like, whatever your goal is. So like right now, my 5-year goal is to be gold. And I'm like, if it took me 5 years to get to gold, like, would I show up every single day to get that? Yeah, heck yeah. Like, do you know how much money that is? And do you know how much like freedom that is? So just like set your goals, set your month goal, and set your like 6-month goal, and set your end of the year goal, and set your 5-year goal, and like work for that and be committed to that. And whatever, if you don't hit your goals, that's fine, but like reach for them and do the work for them. So I think goal setting is like a really good and powerful thing. And then Audrey, I really liked what you said about all of the resources we have. I think anytime you are just like, I don't feel like doing this, like, watch a training, get on a power hour, like do something where you are connecting with the amazing training that we get here for free. It is absolutely incredible the amount of training that we get here. And I know, like, whenever I'm just like, oh, I don't think I can do this, I will never reach my goals, blah, 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 blah. Watch a training, because it will motivate you, and like, you'll get to the point where you're like, yeah, I can do this. Okay, I'm gonna go, like, I gotta make calls, I gotta like do a reel, I gotta do my posts, I gotta do all the things. So trainings are really good. I know, like, another thing, sometimes I actually really want to do the work and I can't do the work because I have 3 kids and I homeschool, and I cook everything from scratch, and like my house needs to be cleaned and all of the different things. And so I feel like I don't have time to do the things. And that can get discouraging more than like my motivation isn't there. So that is actually something that I'm like trying to figure it out for me. I mean, Audrey, like you talked about how every person is different. So just figuring out like what works for you in the day that you have, in the time that you have. And sometimes I have like really big lofty goals for my day, and I might get like a reel made and like 5 stories done, and I've reached out to like 3 people when I wanted to reach out to 15. But like, that's okay. Just continually show up, even if your goals are higher than what you're like, or your expectations are higher than like what reality is. Like, do something every single day and it will pay off. People are watching, and I think that's all I have. So you guys are all doing awesome. And for whoever is going to be at convention, I'm so excited to see you all.
That was so good, Sarah. Thank you. Kayla.
Okay, so that kind of leads into mine, what I was going to talk about. I am a busy mom, a single mom to a 14-month-old baby, and I work a full-time job as an executive assistant to a CEO. So I had a hard time, committing time every day to this. And I found a way. Well, I've been working from home, so let's just say I'm not putting in 8 hours at my job right now. But anyways, let's be honest. I still had to find a way to keep myself like motivated and keep myself on track to doing things every single day, at least just doing something every single day. So like you guys were saying about like the power hours and even just jumping on an op call, like if there's no power hour scheduled and there's an op call scheduled, jump on that. Anything to expose yourself to Q is going to get you pumped up and motivated, because you're going to remember why you got pumped up and motivated in the first place when you went to your first call, right? So that was one thing that I started doing. And with that, I've attended a few power hours, and there's just like, I've noticed, like, I don't know, I'm a list person. I like making lists. I like checking things off. I like knowing what I'm doing that day or planning what I'm doing that day. I am a planner. So I've done a couple of things that help me kind of stay organized and plan not just my day, but I've made a checklist. So I'm going to send it to everybody. So you guys can use it too if you want to. I'll just like list some of the things on the checklist just so that you kind of get an idea of it. So just I've broken it down. So some personal development stuff, setting 3 goals for the day. You know, setting 3 things that you're grateful for every single day. And like both of these things can be said throughout the day, and the universe will actually be this is getting kind of like woo-woo, right? Okay, so bear with me. But if you're saying both your goals and stuff that you're grateful for every single day, and you're just like repeating them like back and forth throughout the day, you're manifesting at the same time and talking about something that you're grateful for. You're kind of tricking the universe into thinking you already have that stuff. So that's a little bit of a tip. And you can change those things every single day. It doesn't have to be the same 3 things, 3 goals or 3 things that you're grateful for. They can be different things every day. But if you kind of say them throughout the day, it can start switching up the energy a little bit. That's just something that I do. And then reading. So whether it be reading a book or listening to an audiobook, at least 30 minutes a day, feeding your brain something good, especially something with self-development that's going to help you improve as a person. I love audiobooks. I'm busy. I listen to them in the car. I listen to them while I do the dishes. I listen to them while I'm in the shower. I am constantly listening to something, whether it be a training or an audiobook or whatever. I'm listening to something on my phone. And that's with Sesame Street going on in the background. So that's a little bit, just a couple personal development things I do every day. For businessy stuff, engagement is huge. Our business is about building relationships with people and filling a need for somebody. So if you're not engaging with people every single day, then what are you doing in this business? Like you're not going to help anybody by not talking to people. You need to talk to people, and you need to do it authentically. So that can be tricky for some people. I know it makes me uncomfortable to message people. So I'm practicing, and they have some tips in the power hours that have helped me. You want to appear more in their feed. So a couple of things I do is every single day I do my happy birthdays on Facebook. Every single day. I mean, not every day. I don't add 5 new friends on Facebook or follow 5 new people every day on Instagram, but I do it quite frequently as I see people that, maybe they might be interested in, we might have similar things in common, just like looking at stuff that they share. Maybe they'll be interested in stuff that I'm interested in too, other things, right? It's important to be constantly bringing new people in because you refresh your market, basically. Commenting on stories is a great way to start conversations with people without having to be weird. So commenting on something that they've posted, again, a great way to interact with somebody without being weird and being like, hey, I'm Kayla, nice to meet you. Little bit more authentic. And intentionally adding value to stuff. So you don't want to just say, oh, that's cool, or, like, neat, or love this. You want to intentionally add value. So, commenting more than 5 words on something is ideal, because then you're actually showing that you're actually paying attention and you care. And then you should look at being a part of Facebook groups that have nothing to do with Q, have to do with things that interest you, that you might know some stuff about, where you can connect with people and maybe make some friends that are interested in the same things as you. And it's not weird, right? Because you guys have the same interests. So you can also make connections that way. Joining mom groups. If you're a mom, like that's what I did. I'm in a Canadian moms group. And, we did a follow thing. I've had some other moms, we did a where do you live thing. And then I went through and I found everybody, from Winnipeg and Manitoba and was like, hey, I'm from Winnipeg too. We should be friends, that kind of thing. It's just a neat way to connect with more people, and commenting on posts in those groups too, so that you're seen, so that you show up more, they see you, and then if you do want to start a conversation or add them as a friend, it's not weird. They've seen you commenting in the groups. It's not like they don't know who you are, but you know what I mean, like they've seen your name pop up, so it's not as weird. So that's a few things with engagement. And business development. So you want to be inviting people to look at the business. And I don't know if any of you guys are in that Daniel G training. It is insane. If you're not in there, we've only had one session. So there's the one recording available to watch, and I don't think we're doing another session for like another week or so. So there's time to catch up, but he is wild. And he says to talk to like so many people a day about the business, inviting them to the business. I'm not that, I don't have that kind of time. So, and to like work those people up to that moment, I don't have that kind of time. So 5 to 7 people a week is kind of what I aim for, to at least to invite to look at the business and your products. So whether it be business or products, we want customers too. So it doesn't have to be just people looking at the business. They can be looking at the products too, but about 5 to 7 people, you can up that number if you want to grow faster. It just depends on how much you're willing to put in, but this is just what I have for, my minimum stuff. I can definitely increase it on the days where I have more time, but to manage, the amount of time that I have, these are just things that I want to get done daily. So as long as I check off these things, I'm happy. If I do more, great, but this is like my minimum. And you also want to follow up with people that you have sent a tool with. And you might not want to follow up with those people every single day, or you're going to get annoying. But, and a tool would mean like if you sent them, if they've attended a Zoom, if you've sent them a video, if you've sent them like the intro video that Fran has about why Q, why now. If you've sent them a comp plan video, if you've sent them product information, anything, like if they've attended something in person. So you want to have a list of those people ongoing. I'm huge with lists right now. I've got a whiteboard actually that I bought, and I am keeping track of everybody that I've talked to or introduced to Q so that I can follow up with them. And Haley has a great tool. I forget what it's called. I wrote it down, but she can say what it is. But it's great for tracking people along the lines, and so you can see them move along if you're into that. I don't know. It could be really handy for follow-up. That's something that I've always struggled with in my past company, and like I've always felt weird about it, and I've always felt really awkward about it. And this is just a way for me to not feel as awkward about it. And if you're doing these things every single day, it's going to feel less weird every single day. It gets like into a habit, you get into a groove, you get more and more confident doing it. It doesn't feel weird eventually. So, and then otherwise I had on my list just some health and wellness stuff, taking your supplements, spending some time outdoors, drinking water, moving your body, just that stuff. So that's on my list. That's my list. And then I just have like a little stuff about like feeling unmotivated, find an op call, find a power hour, message a team member or a leader to have like a call to brainstorm, go to one of the groups and listen to a video to get inspired, read your why and revisit your why all the time. Like you should be looking at it all the time, and it should be changing as you change, because you're growing as a person as you do this business, and your business is growing. So your why is going to change with it. And maybe you look at it weekly, maybe you look at it daily, maybe however you want to do it, but you should be looking at it and revisiting it regularly. and updating it. And that's pretty much all I have.
That's so good. Can you guys hear me? Okay, it kicked me off my computer halfway through. That was so good. I thank you guys all so much for sharing. I love that you guys all had such different perspectives of what being consistent looks like. So I think sometimes we hear like, show up, be consistent, and we're like, well, does that mean like I just go on social media all day, every day? But as like all three of you pointed out totally different things, like watching trainings, going to trainings, you know, reaching out to people, connecting with people, like not even just connecting with people about Q, just connecting with people. This is literally the business of network marketing. And as long as you're connecting with people, it doesn't have to be always, it's not like every conversation you're going to be like, oh, but have you heard of Terpenes? Or but have you heard of my company? Like, it's not always going to be like that, but it's still showing up and doing things that are going to produce fruit for your business. So yeah, you guys, that was so awesome. One other thought that I was thinking of while you guys were talking about this, that was brought up in Nashville when we were there, when we were getting some trainings for some really awesome leaders. One thing that like punched me in the gut was like, they were like, okay, think about the rank that you want to be right now. Like, what's your dream rank? And then they were like, would you pay yourself that much for the amount of work that you put in right now? And I was like, no way. And so that's just where like being consistent, showing up, doing these things, going to trainings, talking about the business, inviting people to things about the business. I know some of you guys are really awesome at sending out samples. Like there's so many different things. It doesn't always look the same for every single person. And I think that's important to remember as well. So yeah, thank you guys all for coming. This was so fun. I have the recording, so if anyone, I'll send it in the group in a little bit. But yeah, this was so fun. I'm so glad you guys came. Next week, will be the one Wednesday that we're not actually going to do this because several of us are going to actually be just arriving in Salt Lake City. And so I don't know how the timing of that, like we're not getting in till late, but this was so fun. Does anyone have anything? Like you guys can unmute and talk and just like chat if you want.
Thanks for organizing this, Haley. This is really great. I'm excited to make these like a regular thing and have other people share. And yeah, it's going to be just a great thing to have and motivating and just great to learn. But thank you, Haley.
No, thank you guys. Thank you all.
Everybody.
All right.
Yeah, it is such a great way to stay connected and to feel like a team and like to feel, because you know we're in the group chats and stuff like that, and I see all of you on Instagram and stuff. It's nice to do this. Like as I said, I'm working from home. I haven't been leaving my apartment much, so
It's it'll be fun to do one like where we all just share our why and like just really get to know. And then sometimes we'll have people like Katie and other people come in and do like little trainings, other cross-line friends. It's gonna be fun. And then other times we'll probably just all just hang out. But this was fun. Happy to see you guys' faces. It's so much better than only seeing names in the chat. I hope you guys, hey, I'm in this and then it'll upload to my cloud and I can load it and send you guys the recording. So thank you guys again for sharing and for coming. This was so fun.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Bye.